We'll be talking about hard cataracts, right?
Yes.
Yes, we are seeing it. Just
yeah, you can see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, just make it full screen. Otherwise, it's fine.
Yeah. Should go into once. Yeah. Right. Okay. Fine. Yes. So now, of course, there are no financial disclosures in this talk for any of the products or technologies mentioned. Now we all know that phacoemulsification is the is the treatment of choice for cataract today. And while there are several methods which are available for this, the main principle in any kind of phacoemulsification is to basically break down the nucleus. You want some kind of a nuclear disassembly. And we all know that hard cataracts are a tough nut to crack. And when someone sees something like this in the OPD, what it does is sends a chill down your spine. And you start wondering right from the time when the patient walks into the OPD, how are you going to manage this kind of a cataract? And what are the concerns in hard cataract? You're basically worried about damage to the posterior capsule. Posterior capsular rent, nuclear drops are more common in hard cataracts. There is likelihood of damage to the zonular complex, especially when you're splitting the hard nucleus. And of course, with so much energy being used in the cataract, and very often these cataracts have a very shallow anterior chamber, there's high risk of damage to the cornea. And of course, these patients very often are associated with other comorbidities in the eye, such as weak zonules. Very often there is a thinned out posterior capsule, a compromised endothelium in these very old patients, pseudoexfoliation, which again is associated with weak zonules. And of course, many often these people have systemic comorbidities, which makes this surgery very difficult for them because they can't lie down for a very long time. And hence my treatment of choice today for rock hard cataracts is a femtosecond laser because first of all, as Dr. Mahipal eloquently described, it ensures a perfect CCC. It creates planes of cleavage for easy nuclear disassembly. There is minimal stress on the zonules and it softens the cataract by using the fragmentation mode. So let us see this case where I have used a femtosecond laser. The main thing that you have to do that despite having created those planes of cleavage, you still need to groove deep, you need to groove wide, and you need to groove long. And you must try to get to the bottom of the posterior capsule. Make sure that you use a little moderate vacuum, about 100, 120, so that the nuclear chatter that is created is easily evacuated from there. Now, as you can see over here, as I'm doing it, the chamber is maintained rock steady because incisions which are done by the femto laser. There is no compromise over there. And as you can see, these planes which are created makes the nuclear disassembly quite easy. And it's easy to do that without exerting any force on the zonules. It's of course again very important that that these planes are created roughly, and hence your left hand should move as you can see out there. Of course, it's very important that when you engage, you buzz and you use high vacuum to separate them. So I typically start with about 600 millimeters mercury of vacuum so that I can hold the lens very clearly. Hello?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I will just go to the next case. I don't know why the video stopped. This is another case of a very hard cataract in a doctor about 75 years old. And once again, though I've used femto, you can see that it's you need to go right to the bottom. That's the biggest message I'll give everybody, that unlike soft cataracts, you need to trench very deep because you need to get down to the posterior plate. As you can see that posterior plate over there, and it cracks only with difficulty. In the hands of people who are very experienced like Mahipal, Kumar, and all on the panel like Suhas, Anaga, they even do a total chop in these patients. But for a person who is probably a beginner and who doesn't have much experience, I would strongly advocate using the stop and chop method. Also, it's very essential that the endothelium is protected. So in all these cases, I always land up using a kind of a soft shell technique where I first inject viscoat into the anterior chamber quite close to the cornea. And then below the viscoat, I inject Helon again so that the viscoat is, kind of tamponaded against the endothelium. This ensures that the chamber is maintained, as you can see over here. And at the same time, the chamber remains protected. It's very important that the emulsification is done at the pupillary plane and not close to the endothelium. Remember that you use high vacuum to hold the nucleus, but once the nucleus has been held, then emulsification should be carried out with a moderate vacuum, such as 300 or 350 millimeters of mercury. The reason for this is that if you use high vacuum, then the high vacuum will draw large pieces of the nucleus inside the phaco tip, causing clogging of the nucleus. So it's very important that if you do not want clogging, carry out all the emulsification at the tip. Now, depending on the phaco you use, like for example, I use a torsional phaco along with longitudinal, which is called as torsional intelligent phaco. Then what happens, you can set a kind of a predetermined vacuum level, such as like 85 or 90 or 95% of your predetermined vacuum level. And at that point of time, when that kind of vacuum has been achieved, a longitudinal energy has been delivered, which throws the nucleus slightly away and makes it easier to emulsify. Remember, you have to emulsify at the tip. Even if you're using a longitudinal phaco, now this is very important, that last piece, if you leave behind, an epinuclear fragment sometimes remains and it can be seen in the anterior chamber even after a few days. So it's very important to remove all of them, you know. And sometimes, of course, a femto is not possible because the pupil does not enlarge. And here you have a dense black cataract in a 91-year-old with not a very good cornea. So as Mahipal suggested, and as Anaga said, you put in a Malaysian ring in all these cases. Here there is such a black cataract that you can't see any fluid wave passing across. So in these cases, you must do multiple quadrant hydrodissection, and you of course have to do it very gently. It's of course very important again that you need to go right at the depth so as to ensure that you have the nucleus well thinned out, create a large space. As you can see, this is one of the hardest of those cataracts. The space has to be so large that your phaco tip along with your sleeve needs to go inside. And then of course, once you have thinned out the main portion in the center, it's not very difficult to split. When splitting, make sure that you do not exercise too much force, because if you exercise too much force, you can cause damage to the zonules, especially in tight bags where the entire bag is exposed, is occupied by the nucleus, and there is hardly any cortex for aspiration. So in these kind of cases, you have to be sure, you have to be slow, you do not be very fast. In fact, this was a radiologist's father I was doing, and he had lost his first eye because of various reasons. Same situation, I guess. So you have to be kind of careful doing that. And then once you have done that, you can go to your goal, whatever it is, then it becomes routine. The main difficulty out here is this. I don't hesitate to use a CTR in some of these patients, especially if they've got weak zonules. This also helps to stabilize the lens. And especially in this particular case where I had to put in a toric lens, I think I just landed up doing that, though I don't know whether it is there in the video. Yes. And of course, there are those exceptional cases sometimes where, you're an extremely hard cataract in a one-eyed patient. As you can see, this is a black cataract with a shallow chamber. You don't want to, take the risk of phaco. You need immediate vision the next day. You got to leave your ego aside. And I land up doing a small incision cataract surgery for this patient. As you can see, I have rotated the nucleus. And once you rotated the nucleus, if you have done a decent size rhexis, you can, you can, 1 second, I don't know. Yeah. Yes, you have to make sure that the fluid is spread all around. And use a good wave, go behind the iris. And once you manage to prolapse one pole, it's not very difficult. Then you just slide your hydrodissection cannula below one pole of the nucleus and dial it out of the bag into the anterior chamber. Once it's in the anterior chamber, you put viscoelastic under the lens. And even if you have not done a very large tunnel, you make sure that it gets engaged in the tunnel. Once it's engaged in the tunnel, just like a delivery in a baby, you kind of go and insert your cystosome from the opposite port, push it further, and then engage it and get it out of the eye. So, when you're not very sure whether you'll be able to do a good job, there's no harm in going for an SICS. And as I planned in this case, this was a toric lens, as you can see from the marks. I calculated a surgical induced astigmatism of 1.5 and managed to get a 6/6 vision unaided by putting a toric lens in the eye, even in these cases. So I'm sure that with all these cases, even a premium eyewear like a toric or even a multifocal can be put in these hard cataracts, provided all the principles are observed carefully. So the key points in the management of dense cataracts is you have to do a specular microscopy pre-op in all these cases, use of a soft shell viscoelastic, a gentle multi-quadrant hydrodissection, a nuclear rotation is a must prior to phaco. Always rotate all these lenses, because if you have not rotated, and because these nuclei are very hard and adherent to the epinuclear shell, you will land up in problems. You have to do a deep, wide and long trenching. The crack has to be initiated deep into the groove. If you crack on the top, you are not going to achieve a crack. You have to create a space before handling the big pieces, use higher vacuum for holding the pieces and moderate vacuum for emulsification or aspiration. And you need to have a combination of torsional and longitudinal phaco for an ideal results. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sandeep Nagvekar, sir. That was an excellent presentation. Thank you so much. Dr. Maipal, sir, what is the most important step that you think is important in managing rock hard cataracts?
I think I'll just give a very brief reply because we have only 13 minutes to go and Dr. Suhas has to talk.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I think patience is the most important thing, and taking a proper decision whether you can handle it in what form or not. And I think the last slide sums it up all, going deep enough for creating a trench and using good viscoelastic and also good irrigating solutions, and breaking the backbone of the nucleus. That is the most important thing.